Thank you everyone for joining us today for our webinar to learn more about our core pharmacy suite. If you have questions during the presentation, please feel free to put them in the Q&A chat at the top bar. If we have time at the end, we will try to answer any questions, but if not, we will make sure your sales representative reaches out. I am your host, Kristen Wokelchuk, and I'm a marketing manager on the pharmacy team. And today I am joined by our speakers, Amanda Wegman, who is our Director of Pharmacy Strategic Planning, and Morgan Prokopenko, who is a PharmD and Clinical Account Consultant Pharmacist on our team. Before we dive into the presentation, I just want to take a moment to reiterate our mission to help people in our communities live healthier and more secure lives through access to high-quality, affordable healthcare. This mission is the driving force behind everything we do, including our pharmacy solutions, which you will get to see the opportunity to see today, from innovative clinical strategies to cost-effective solutions. Every element of our core pharmacy suite is designed to support better outcomes for both employees and businesses. So by the end of today's presentation, you will know more about what's shaping the future of the pharmacy landscape, how we're delivering better outcomes and bottom lines through clear pharmacy strategies, and the latest updates on GLP-1s. So with that, I am now going to pass it off to Morgan to get into our market trends.
Thank you, Kristen. And again, thank you everybody for joining us for our first pharmacy webinar of 2025. So we'll jump right in and get into the pharmacy market trends. So we all know that the pharmacy landscape is dynamic, but a lot of these trends have been increasing pharmacy spend year over year. So when we look at what's driving the spend in 2025, specialty drugs. So majority of the new drugs in development are designated as specialty drugs. So we continue to see utilization increase on both the pharmacy and medical benefit. That can be said in the cancer space as well. We've seen the diagnosis increase annually, and again, development of more targeted therapies, more cellular therapies like the CAR-T drugs that are driving the cost of these medications as well. It is important to note that nearly half of these top 25 specialty drugs in the US will have biosimilar equivalents within the next 5 years. So, that's great. It's going to be offering some lower costing alternatives of these medications, but still need to have strategies around these specialty drugs, cancer drugs, to make sure we're managing trend effectively. The last one, my favorite one, GLP-1s. So again, those drugs that are used for the treatment of type 2 diabetes and weight management. These drugs do have a monthly cost of around $1,000. So typically not something that we would think of as super expensive and have to worry about, but it's the volume of prescriptions that we're seeing here, with roughly 10% of our population having diabetes and over 50% of the population anticipated to be obese within the next few years. This is something that is driving trend for all of our businesses. There is a very robust pipeline for GLP-1s, which we'll talk about at the end. So again, trends to prepare for this year, next year, making sure you have a pharmacy partner that has solutions that span to all of these trends. And to get into that, I will pass it over to Amanda to.
Thank you, Morgan, and hello, everyone. Hopefully by now you've had the chance to review our refreshed value story that was launched in our February edition of the Mona's Minute. This slide really highlights our 4 value story pillars. So first being that we bring you a more complete approach and more value. This pillar really highlights the extensive range of cost containment solutions that are available to help make medications more affordable, to promote the proper utilization, and to improve the health of our community. Next, our model is built for your benefit. So with us, you'll get a partner with both local and national expertise. We do not have any financial interests in mail order or specialty drug pharmacies. Therefore, our drug policies are built to really ensure that we are truly driving to the lowest net cost and putting our members first without any bias. We also have the flexibility to offer a formulary that best aligns with our client's mission. And then, of course, the benefit of integrated pharmacy and medical approach. And then moving on, the experience is easy for everybody. We make sure that our members and employers have a smooth experience with us by making compliance easier, integrating vendor solutions, and providing personalized care for each member, answering their questions, and resolving issues quickly. And then last but not least, we're driving progress through our partnership. To give our members the best care, we know that we always need to keep improving. We're either creating new services and programs or teaming up with organizations to bring the best of the industry to our groups. A couple examples of this are our collaboration with drug manufacturers to drive innovation, like our first of its kind, the Medication Assurance Program, and then also integrating with specialized vendors, such as our strategic partnership with OncoHealth. Now on this slide, I'm going to dive a little bit more into one of our value pillars. We bring you a more complete approach and more value. So we have a full range of programs that are available to drive affordability and improve the health of our community. At the root of our offering are those clinical backend strategies that support formulary management, waste reduction, and so much more. These are delivered through our core pharmacy suite, and as you can see here, generates an estimated $27.77 per member per month in savings. And then we also have a variety of programs that complement the savings, such as everything else you see listed here. So we have our pharmacy concierge program, which is our physician detailing program. This program has done extremely well for our employers, saving an annual pharmacy savings of over $19 million. As they move down to HelpScript, this is our medical specialty drug copay maximizer program, which you can see here from one fill alone has saved $10,000. Moving over to Save On, which complements HelpScript very well, as it's our specialty drug copay maximizer program on the pharmacy benefit. For our employer groups that have been enrolled in this program, there is a $543 per participant per month savings associated with that. And then last but not least, due to the great work of our high cost claimant team, we see an average savings of almost or over $1,200 per member per month. Now I'm excited to announce our core pharmacy suite. So our core pharmacy suite was born from the feedback we've received from all of you and is the core foundation of our clinical strategies that we've done for years to combat the market trends that Morgan spoke to earlier. The core pharmacy suite is not a new product, but a thoughtfully organized bundle of our proven clinical programs. By bringing these solutions together under one clear framework, we make it easier for you to understand their full value and what we do for our customers and their employees to deliver better outcomes and bottom lines every day. Our suite of backend solutions serves as the foundation of our programs, offering clinical strategies that integrate seamlessly at no additional cost. So these are really the programs and strategies that are embedded in our pharmacy benefit. Now, we were very thoughtful in our approach to outline everything that we do that drives the significant savings that you see here of over $27 per member per month, bucketing our strategies into 5 bundled categories, first being formulary management, then specialty drug benefit optimization, cancer care, cost and weight reduction, and then, the market's hottest trend, GLP-1 trend management. But now, before I turn it over to Morgan, I do want to take a deeper dive, or who will be taking a deeper dive into each of these categories. I do want to call out that this $27 per member per month is associated to our book of business that are currently enrolled in our commercial open and preferred value formularies. And now I will officially turn it over to Morgan.
Thanks, Amanda. So starting off with our formulary management. So our approach to formulary management balances cost with quality and safety to provide the best drug coverage at the lowest net cost. And again, this is at the core of what we do. So evaluating drugs for placement on our formularies and developing the clinical policies for prior authorization, just to name a few. So we do have those utilization management strategies that span both the medical specialty drugs and the pharmacy benefit drugs. So you'll see the medical drug utilization included in this core pharmacy suite. So our team of clinical pharmacists evaluate each new drug to market and we'll place them on the appropriate tier, and especially with those newer, very high cost drugs that are coming to market, they may be placed on the highest tier or non-formulary until they can get the thorough review by our pharmacy and therapeutics committee. We also develop value-based drug solutions and strategies, such as policies around high-cost, low clinical value drugs to promote safe and cost-effective use of medications. So these are just a few of the solutions on formulary management. It's definitely not an all-encompassing list, but nearly 85 cents of every dollar is managed by some sort of formulary or utilization management strategy. So we're touching a lot of the different drugs, making sure we're evaluating everything for safety and clinical efficacy, and embedding it into those clinical strategies. When we talk about cost and waste reduction, pharmacy continues to be the main driver of healthcare costs. So having programs in place to minimize waste and avoid unnecessary spending while achieving positive outcomes is imperative. So to name a few of the programs that we have in place to help with the cost and waste reduction, advanced opioid management. So this program targets those opioid drugs. So we're looking to make sure that no members are having excess opiate use. If they are on a higher dose, that it's medically necessary and appropriate, and helps to avoid potential misuse and abuse of those medications. High dollar claims review. So this will trigger an additional look by a pharmacist for accuracy and medical appropriateness for any claim over $3,000. So just making sure there's a second set of eyes on those high dollar claims that may not have triggered like a prior authorization or something. I know we had a claim for a cream that was, costing over $100,000. We put pharmacy eyes on it and we're able to bring that claim down by over 75%. So just situations like that. Safeguard RX. So this program targets the most costly conditions, like we said, inflammatory MS, cancer, that a lot of the times require those specialty drugs for treatment, and will provide early discontinuation credits if a member stops a drug at the start of therapy. Split fill is another program that targets waste and allows for smaller fills of 15-day supply when starting a medication that may require frequent dose changes or can cause side effects. So we're not allowing a 30-day supply and wasting a full month of an expensive prescription. We also have an entire team dedicated to pharmacy fraud, waste, and abuse. So a pharmacist and analyst that will look into claims. And just as an example of that, they discovered a PenSed scheme that was happening. So PenSed is a branded diclofenac gel that's 2% in strength, and it costs roughly $2,800 compared to an equally effective generic product, diclofenac 1% gel, that's available for as low as $25. So our fraud, waste, and abuse team identified that there was provider pharmacy that were overprescribing this versus the lower costing generic, reported it to CMS, and a nationwide alert was issued on this scheme. So really identifying where we're seeing those wasteful claims, because there is, again, an equally effective product that's available for several $1,000s less. So as a result of this, Pensed is still a covered product, but requires the use of 4 equally effective therapies prior to coverage if needed. When we look at cancer care, this is something that continues to evolve, and as Amanda said, we have leveraged a strategic partnership with OncoHealth to help us deliver the highest quality care in the oncology space. So OncoHealth is a team of board certified oncologists, hematologists, pharmacists, nurses, again, that all specialize in strictly cancer care. So they will offer their expert consultative services on our prior authorization reviews for these oncology or hematology drugs. They also provide their expertise and act as key opinion leaders when we're developing our new prior authorization policy criteria. So these are the people that are most up to date on the new drugs coming to market, on the guidelines that are changing, where these medications are in the placement of therapy, because again, cancer is changing rapidly. It's really great for those that are diagnosed with cancer with those advancements, but again, us leveraging a partnership with the experts to help manage that care. So this is a really good partnership. We have, our members having their regimens reviewed by clinical experts. Our employer groups can have greater confidence that when their employees are on one of these medications, that it's medically necessary and appropriate. And then 2, strengthens our provider partnerships by giving them another outlet to have those peer-to-peer interactions with the specialists. So just an example of how OncoHealth helps with these reviews. We had a request come in for a patient that was diagnosed with a stage 2 bladder cancer that had no prior treatment history. The request was for 2 high-costing specialty drugs, Keytruda and Padcev, as initial therapy. When we sent the case over to OncoHealth, this regimen is unsupported because they had not had progression of therapy on standard of care chemotherapy, and it's the regimen that was requested is typically reserved after standard of care has been shown to be ineffective. So they recommended that they have a peer-to-peer review to discuss alternative treatment options and recommended standard of care as first line. So as a result, the request for the 2 expensive drugs was denied, and the provider actually did decide to go with the standard of care platinum-based therapy with radiation, saving over $350,000 on those drugs, but also making sure that the patient was on that guideline recommended first-line therapy. Next, we'll get into the specialty drug optimization. So this is looking at drugs that can cross from the medical benefit to the pharmacy benefit. So medical specialty drugs are those that have to be administered by a healthcare professional. So requires the member to receive that drug in an office setting or at an infusion center, hospital, home infusion, whatever it may be, versus the pharmacy drugs, which majority of the time are self-administered, that they would get their medication from the specialty pharmacy and be able to inject that themselves. So we do take a conscious, thorough approach to this. We can convert some of these medications from coverage under the medical benefit to the pharmacy benefit for a lower net cost. So the member will always see a neutral or positive impact to their cost share in this process. We would not make the change if it was going to affect anything on the member side. And with this program last year, we did deliver an additional $2.8 million in savings to our groups. So last, but certainly not least is the GLP-1 trend management. So again, over the last few years, these medications have really increased in utilization, driving the cost. So at Excellus BlueCross BlueShield, we have really kept pace with this trend, and that's really through our utilization management strategies on these medications. So when we talk about the management of GLP-1s, we could break it out by the diabetic products and then the weight loss products. So both the types of GLP-1s do have utilization management with prior authorization. So diabetes products have a requirement for a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, and our weight loss products have a more comprehensive approach with the BMI requirements of 40 and up or 35 and up with comorbidity, and then that proof of enrollment in a comprehensive weight management program. We also have preferred products in the diabetes space. Some of these products, like Ozempic, offer additional benefits for diabetic patients, like heart protection, kidney protection. So we want to see members on those products that are more clinically beneficial and quantity limits. So this again goes into making sure that they're only getting what has been approved with FDA labeling or not wasting medication. So all of those strategies have lumped in, and you can see on this slide that if we didn't have the management strategies in place, the spend on these medications could be much higher. So the left shows the diabetic GLP-1 spend. So you'll see roughly around $25 PMPM on the blue line. That's managed with our prior authorization criteria. If we didn't have these strategies, again, we could see those numbers up 30% to over $30 PMPM. The weight loss GLP-1 spend on the right is a little bit more dramatic with managed and unmanaged. So our spend right around $4 PMPM. But if we did not have those policies in place, you can see it'd be up over 400% higher in that weight loss space. So again, very important to have the appropriate management on those GLP-1 products. Now moving into GLP-1 updates. So we've talked about this is a trend that has been increasing year over year. It's included in that bundle because our strategies have been very successful in managing this trend. But again, we want to keep you all aware of what's going on in that space and what is going to continue to happen for years to come. So right now, GLP-1s are driving traditional RX spend to outpace the specialty trend for the first time in several years. So the market for these drugs is estimated to be over $100 billion by 2030. So again, diabetes rates continue to increase, obesity rates continue to increase. These drugs are getting expanded indications, so this may be even higher with additional indications approved. When we look at the landscape in diabetes, so again, those drugs like Ozempic, Mounjaro, Trulicity, we have seen that these therapies are recommended earlier in treatment, and a lot of the time they could be first line. You know, they look at the patient holistically to say, okay, you have diabetes, but do you also have heart disease? Do you have kidney disease? Are you obese? Providers may now be recommending these therapies much earlier on. We do see that Ozempic just recently got a label expansion for chronic kidney disease in those patients with type 2 diabetes. So we're not only seeing the label expansion on the weight loss side, we're also seeing it on the diabetes side. There are now generics going to be coming to market for Victoza and Byetta. These two products have kind of fallen out of favor for utilization. Their daily administration And, we see mostly Ozempic, Mounjaro, Trulicity really driving the trend there, and still several years until those products will have generics on the market. But really, main point to drive here is that now with utilization management strategies in place, it's really helping to prevent that off-label use of these medications for trying to get them for weight loss or other indications. In the weight loss space, I think this is where a lot of the focus is lately and where it will continue to be, just with the broad market success of these products. So, Zepbound was recently introduced at the end of 2023, and now we have studies to show that the efficacy is increased versus Wegovy, so producing more weight loss than its counterpart. We did see expanded indications last year, both on Wegovy and Zepbound. So reduction in cardiovascular risk with Wegovy, and then Zepbound with the label expansions for obstructive sleep apnea. Another important thing to point out with these products is that they were both removed from the shortage list. So with label expansion, removal from the shortage list, we really continue to see these products increase in utilization, increase in spend, and then we'll see it going forward. As far as the pipeline, again, we want to make sure that we're providing you with information that will help you make decisions, and a lot of research and development is also being placed in this weight loss GLP-1 space. So there are over 6 drugs that can be approved just within the next 2 years. So I know manufacturer for the oral semaglutide, Novo, just filed for the weight management indication a few weeks ago. We see other products that have oral medications that will increase the population who doesn't like to inject. Some of these products have newer mechanisms or multiple mechanisms. So targeting not only just GLP-1, but looking at other hormones like GIP. So really might have increased efficacy. Good that, there's a lot of development here. When you have more options coming to market, it can drive competition and hopefully, help drive the cost down there. There's also additional indications being studied. So we've seen studies come out with heart failure for Alzheimer's disease, a liver condition known as MASH, looking at it in chronic kidney disease outside the type 2 diabetes population, looking at it for diabetic neuropathy, peripheral artery. The list goes on and on for what they are studying these medications for. So again, just really important to keep a pulse on this trend because it is not going anywhere. So just to wrap us up, because I know we're bumping up against time here, and some key takeaways from today, our core pharmacy suite offers a complete approach, one that has saved our groups over $27 PMPM. It includes strategies that span both the medical and pharmacy benefits to mitigate trend, which is really important because we have continued to see both of those increase year over year. And then finally, those GLP-1s will continue to drive pharmacy trends. So again, making sure that you have the appropriate strategies in place that will help mitigate the trend in that space. So with that, I will ask if there's any questions and pass it back to Kristen.
Thank you again for everyone joining. We did not have any questions come through. If you do have questions, please reach out to your account representative and they'd be happy to get back to you. I did send out a quick poll. If you could take a minute to just tell us if you like today's webinar, it helps gauge feedback for us. It'd be greatly appreciated. These webinars will be getting sent out, so feel free to share with anyone in your organization who may have missed the webinar today but would like to hear the information. And we also have additional material for information on excellusforbusiness.com. So if you're looking to learn more, you can head there. We have a brochure, a flyer available. And again, thank you for joining and have a great rest of your week.